Support for WYES is made possible by Mary Lou Kristovich in memory of her husband, William Kristovich.
Good evening. I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, she's back, Poppy Tooker, host of the WWNO radio program, Louisiana Eats. Good to see you, dear.
Hey, Peggy.
And speaking of eating, we're thrilled. Making his Steppin Out debut, Rien Fertel, food historian and author, here to discuss his brand new book, The One True Barbecue. And we're delighted that he's here. Welcome, dear.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, and Steppin Out theater critic and Smason, editor of the online Crescent City Jewish News. And Poppy, first up, kiddo.
Well, Susan Spicer sent me an email this week, and she has really stepped up to the plate with a project called New Orleans Remembers, Dine Out for Louisiana. And she's spearheading this effort, and it's Thursday, September 8th, which is a little bit in the future, but 25% of all proceeds from participating restaurants is going to go to Second Harvest Food Bank, because Second Harvest is doing everything for the whole region right now, so they really need this money. The restaurants that have already signed up include Primitivo, La Boca, Ancora, Hi-Hat, Pagoda Cafe, and Cafe des Gars. And there's a Facebook page. Eventually there will be a website up, but it's Dine Out for LA, for Louisiana. So those people really need some help.
Yeah.
Then, if you need some help around your waistline, we've got help for that too.
That was never a problem. Never been a problem. Okay.
Because Fit NOLA has some really exciting, great news. First of all, when you're flying these days, you can eat fit and stay fit at the airport. 4 restaurants are now participating at Louis Armstrong International Airport. You can have a house salad with grilled chicken and balsamic from Copeland's. You can go to Ye Old College Inn and get the light and healthy fish. You can go to Dookie Chase, not normally where you think of if you're going for your waistline. The Redfish Orleans qualifies as an Eat Fit NOLA dish, and Zataran's Kitchen is serving Chapatulas Chicken Caesar. Then you can still be a Saints fan and Eat Fit NOLA, because increasing this year from 3 concessions last year to 6 this year at the Superdome.
Oh, that's good news.
At the Superdome, you can be a Saints fan and have Asian chopped salad, barbecue shrimp and grits, buffalo chicken wrap, chicken kale salad, shredded chicken slider, fruit, yogurt, and granola parfait. So you can still stay on your diet, just leave the beer alone at the Superdome, or at least drink light. Then, speaking of light and wonderful, Seaworthy is one of the most amazing new restaurants we have had in New Orleans in memory. And you know, that's a stretch. It is operated by the Pincus brothers. They have a big restaurant group that's out of New York. This is their first project here. It's next door to the Ace Hotel in this absolutely charming little 19th century townhouse that you feel like you step back in time when you go in. Now, the executive chef is Carrie Heffernan, who is a big deal chef in New York City and all about sustainable seafood. You know what I loved there? All of the plates and the flatware, nothing matches. It's different at every place.
Look at those oysters.
Those oysters. The oysters are the big deal, okay? They have always 10 different kinds of oysters. Farmed Gulf oysters, kushis, kumamotos. They make their crackers. Like, imagine, for oysters, it's not saltines, it's house-made crackers. The chef de cuisine is Daniel Cosgrove. He used to be at the Windsor Court.
Sure.
So there's some house-made ceviche with a little Parmesan crisp. Look how exquisite that is. Then, this knocked my socks off. I've been waiting to have a lobster roll in New Orleans for a really long time. And that lobster roll is outrageous.
Look at the French fries, too.
They have an amazing caviar menu. There's some meat dishes. It's not all seafood, but focused on sustainability, and really one of the best things I have to say about it is they are open from 4 p.m. until 2 a.m. Now, anybody who has ever caught a late flight into New Orleans or was hungry after a Mardi Gras ball knows there are not a lot of choices. 2 a.m. Good job.
Poppy, that CBD is humming, huh?
It
just
is.
amazing. Josephine Estelle, so many others.
It's incredibly exciting.
You know, so great news here. I'm glad you're back.
Me too. Thank you, Peggy.
Ryan, oh my goodness, this book. Okay, we said the one true barbecue, but fire, smoke, and the pit masters who cook the whole hog. So actually, then, you've been around the country, primarily in the Carolinas and Tennessee, and what did you find?
Well, I found a lot of barbecue, and I wrote what I think is the first barbecue book that doesn't have one barbecue recipe in it.
Okay.
So I spent...
Because you're more of a culinary historian.
Well,
Okay.
and I like to talk to people and talk about what they do, and what the book is about is... these barbecue cooks, the pitmasters, some of them call themselves, in the Carolinas and in Tennessee, who cook whole hogs. So they cook full pigs. So we're talking about 200-pound beasts at a time. And sometimes they do as many as 20 of these at a time over certain holidays. So we're talking about, it can be thousands of meat they have to cook. Takes 20 to 24 hours to cook one of these hogs. And it's about sitting around the fire and kind of gathering their stories. They have so much time sitting, around the fire, shoveling coals. They cook these hogs with live hardwood coals, so freshly made charcoal.
And we're going to show some pit
really.
masters as we talk. Yeah.
And so it's about the stories they tell, about the work that they do, and about the dedication to this really authentic barbecue art form.
So South Carolina and the North Carolina tend to be quite the culinary capitals for barbecue, and Tennessee. Now, Scott's barbecue, I know, is particularly exciting for you.
So Scott's barbecue is kind of the standout among whole hog restaurants nowadays.
That's a great photo.
Rodney Scott inherited the business from his father, who opened it in the 70s, and he now travels the world cooking hogs. He just got back from 2 trips in Australia this summer. And he has gained a following where people travel all over the world to see him, and it's the most simplest form of cooking. It's a pig, unspiced, thrown on the grill, cooked for 20 hours, and then he mops it with a kind of a special vinegary, lemony, very, very spicy sauce at the end, chops it up, and that's his barbecue.
Now, you go into the saga, which is incredible. Unfortunately, with pit masters, fires can happen.
Yeah.
And how a lot of folks came to his rescue to get him back up again. The money was raised all over the country, including New Orleans.
Including here,
Very
yeah.
sweet.
So 2 years ago, Rodney Scott lost his pit house. He lost his restaurant. All whole hog restaurants, because they're cooking with live fire and because these hogs are constantly dripping their grease onto this fire, they all have the potentiality to explode. And every single place I visited, and the really historic ones number about 12 right now, they've all burned down at some point in their history. And he went on the road, and he received a lot of attention around the country. A lot of chefs around the South and around the country really supported him and helped him rebuild through fundraisers.
Now, Ron, tell us the truth about this, because it may sound like it was a great fun time roaming around eating barbecue. But you actually put some time in the smokehouses. And those smokehouses, I mean, eventually many of them die from living in that smoke.
Yeah, well,
Not good for your lungs, huh?
It is not good for your health. So I spent about 4 years doing the research on this book. I'm a teacher here in New Orleans, and so I'd use the summers to go do the research. So we're talking 90 plus degrees outside. It's 100, maybe 120 inside these pit houses, even at night. In the Carolinas, it does not get very cool in July and August. And so we would sit in the pit houses. We would inhale this smoke. A lot of these pit masters you kind of sit all night with their pigs, and they will have dinner next to their pigs. They have to keep constant watch because those fires that I mentioned earlier can happen at any moment. And so they sit all night with just a shovel, no TV, sometimes a radio, no book or magazine, just them and their pigs all night long. And so I kind of beg to steal their time and sit beside them and ask them questions and talk about everything.
Now, you did this in conjunction with the Southern Foodways Alliance, so you're gathering stories for a good reason too, in addition to the book.
Initially, it was the Southern Foodways Alliance, which is this really beautiful organization headquartered at the University of Mississippi in Oxford. And what they do is document and celebrate the diversity of Southern foodways. And back in 2008, they put me on the road to document whole hog barbecue in West Tennessee, and I really, really fell in love with whole hog barbecue in particular.
We would be remiss if we didn't talk about your own heritage.
Yeah.
Your grandmother is with Ruth Fertel, of course, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Your mom also ran a steakhouse, so it's kind of in the blood here.
It is. I grew up in kitchens. I grew up working in kind of every kitchen position in these restaurants. And I think that's what initially drew me to this. There was always a lot of fire in these steakhouse kitchens.
Pyromania here, right?
Yeah, and these barbecue pits were, took fire to the extreme, cooking with live fire.
Yes. Okay. Locally, any favorite barbecue places? It just seems like it's grown exponentially in New Orleans. This wasn't a good barbecue town.
No, it was not ever a barbecue place.
No, and I didn't grow up with much of a barbecue culture. Yeah, there are plenty of restaurants that have popped up, especially this summer. I'm still, my favorite place is maybe because it's a rare find, but it's Saturdays at Mofo. Mike Galata cooks a whole pig, so it fits in with my book too. And he does it in a style that the restaurant is in, so it's a little Vietnamese-y and a little New Orleans-y. It's excellent. It's completely different from the hogs I wrote about. I love it. I love showing up on Saturdays and eating there.
Just so we don't disappoint anybody, it's not every Saturday. It's 3 Saturdays a month, because the third Saturday he cooks a lamb.
That's right.
I'm always looking forward to that Saturday.
Just a quick question before we move on. Cracklins. Did Cracklins figure in any of these other pit masters outside of Louisiana? Do they save it?
So it's interesting. Some places will just throw away the skins. They almost burn it, and so they sometimes sell it to people to give their dogs. One or two places will fry it on the pit. They'll put a little salt and a little they'll smear the pig grease from the pig on it, and they'll crisp it up, and then they will chop it up into the barbecue, into the meat.
Oh, wow.
And so you have little bits of crunch when you're biting into your sandwich or your plate of barbecue. It's a really beautiful thing.
Sounds good to me. Thank you very much, Ryan. And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Bobby Moore named the first owner of the New Orleans Saints and told us where he was from. John Meekum, and John Meekum Jr., we should say, and from Houston. Now tonight's question. Name 3 commercially produced beers that were once made in New Orleans. Email your answers, the hands are going up, to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes. Tonight we have a year's subscription to Louisiana Life magazine. We also have a dish towel with the message, "I love gardening very much," from our friends of WearableVegetables.com. And we have a pair of tickets of free admission passes to either Audubon Zoo, Aquarium of the Americas, or the Butterfly Garden and Insectarium. You can visit WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events. And you can also link to our WYES YouTube channel to view our program. And now we have something very special. Abstract artist Mallory Page is best known for her large-scale monochromatic paintings. She's a self-taught painter who is, in her own words, charged with documenting the intangible, as Tom Gregory shows us.
Abstract artist Mallory Page is best known for her large-scale monochromatic paintings. She's a self-taught painter who, in her own words, is charged with documenting the intangibles. Her gallery is here in New Orleans.
Abstraction and the way inspiration for abstraction comes about is so very mystical to me. I think there's something between your tangible paints and then your final masterpiece. Whatever goes on in between there, I'm not really sure, but it's something that's indescribable. Whatever you're thinking and envisioning when you start is never what comes out in the end. I've had to let go of intentions and let what's gonna come out. So usually when I'll start a piece, I kind of just I let myself understand that it's gonna go where it's gonna go. And at the end of it, it's gonna be something beautiful, regardless of whether or not it's what I intended to begin with in the first place. There's a large element of the layered process in my work because I'm thinning down several hundreds of layers of paintings. And through that, some of them start really rough and then smooth out, and then some of them have pieces of the roughness still in it. I think the process is about letting little bits of every layer come through, and I think that's what makes the work as a whole move. I would say that happens a lot with color as well, because I'll be focusing on what's going on and digesting and you know, you take that self-awareness and that what's fascinating you at the time, and for some reason, simultaneously for me, a color arrives with it. And so I turn that into, okay, this is gonna be this sensory process, and this is gonna be what sensory this person absorbs. And I think having the color along with it really helps to give it that extra punch. And that's why I paint monochromatically, so that it is this one sensory, this one thought, this one emotion. I mean, the process is all about documenting the intangible. So it's really, really difficult to describe it when you get into that. You can create it, but then you have to let go of what you've made so that the person viewing it can interpret it for themselves. It's like musicians set out to create their art, but they want people to interpret it in their own way. And I think that my paintings are very similar to that. I want people to come in and interact with it on their own level. This kind of career, this luck, this good fortune takes a lot of work and a lot of your time and a lot of your energy. But I also think it's something that it follows you, it finds you, it makes you do it. It doesn't give you a choice. I've had such a fun experience with my work. I determine success based upon, today I want to make this, and every day I feel like I get to do that, and I get to seek out projects that I really love, and when I want to make a bigger piece and when I want to grow bigger, they get bigger. And when I think that is the luckiest thing as an artist to be able to do. I don't think it gets any better than that.
And the Mallory Page Gallery is on Julia Street in the Arts District. You can visit her website to see more. And now to Ellen.
Well, you know, we've had some rather strange plays in New Orleans, and one of them most recently, of course, was the NOLA project had a play that was centered around water in the swimming pool, exterior pool night. Well, I guess some other people are trying to take it and run with that theme, because Waterworld, the Aqua play, is going to be presented at the Masson McCarty, which is in the area that we know as the Faubourg Marigny. It's starting up on August the 27th. Now, their doors will open up, or at least the swimming pool will open up from 5 o'clock on, and they will have their curtain at 7:30. But the public is invited to go see the play, which will take place in the pool, and swim in the pool prior to the play beginning. It's kind of an interesting.
Is this inspired by the infamous movie with Kevin Costner?
Well, indeed it is. Those of you who remember the opening scene of Waterworld, I can't wait to see how they do that one.
Okay.
But
right,
anyway,
just curious.
Waterworld was a tremendous flop for for him, as you remember, Kevin Costner, the movie itself. So how it can inspire a play needs to be seen. I guess they're maybe going to do this tongue-in-cheek, but again, this is very interesting. I just see all these plays opening up with more bodies of water to do with it. I know that several years ago there was a play that featured an immersion in water as part of a rite of passage, as you will. So I think some people must have thought, that's an interesting thing. We'll put that in the back of our memory. But it is going to be Waterworld, the Aqua play, and it'll be on from August the 27th through the 31st. So keep that in mind. Also, coming up in about another month from now, I want everybody to be aware, we haven't had a chance to mention it, but the Broadway Across America series is going to be starting up. Of course, East Jefferson Hospital presents this particular series at the Sanger Theater, which, of course, is every time I show it, one of the most spectacular places, venues for theater in not only Louisiana, but in the entire country. Last year, when we had the American Theater Critics Association come in, they were astounded at the jewel that we call our home theater. So again, I would recommend that anybody who wants to go see some really first-rate national touring shows to get over to the Sanger Theater. Again, opening night will be September the 20th, which is a Tuesday. It'll run Tuesday through Sunday, and that's going to be The Sound of Music. The Sound of Music is a big favorite. It was actually the very first national tour show that I saw as a child, and it inspired me to go on to a love of theater for a lifetime. So again, I hope that somebody else now will pick up the torch and run with it as well. So we'll see that. Again, matinees will be on Saturday and Sunday, and again, the shows will be on either 7:30 or 8 o'clock, depending on what night of the week. Of course, weekends it's going to be at 8 o'clock, except on Sunday. Friday and Saturday at 8 o'clock, and then Sunday it'll be 7:30 as well. Also, one of the other venues that we've been spotlighting a lot lately is the BB's national acclaimed Stage Door Canteen at the National World War II Museum. Remember that it now has several different promising acts that come in. We've got several people who are going to be featured there, and I'll be talking about them in just a little bit, but we've got the Sentimental Journey that's going to be done. This is the 27th. I want to remind everybody that this is the big band. This is the swing band, not the Victory Six, which is six group, but they've got actually a whole swing orchestra. You can see them there. They are fantastic. A lot of times they will do the New Year's Eve concerts, etc. But this is an opportunity to go experience a little dancing, a little fun, and again, that'll be on this coming Saturday night. Also at the Stage Door Canteen, the BB Stage Door Canteen, we remind you, the Victones. This is a brand new male group. We all know how male groups have been dominating some of the music charts, etc. And we've had the Victory Bells for so many years, thanks to Victoria Reed and all the people over there. This is a brand new group of men who sing fantastic three-part harmony. And I'm going to tell you that I'm hoping that there'll be a lot more Victones shows in the future, because they did at the Stage Door Canteen Idol show the national anthem. It was unbelievable. The national anthem done with three men singing, and the applause was spectacular. So again, the Victones' first show will be Wednesday, September the 14th. That'll be coming up, and again, they'll have several other shows throughout the month. Go check the calendar for that. Also, of course, there is a possibility of getting brunch with a matinee, so it's all included. I want to also mention some of the other trends that are going on right now, and we want to mention this because not everybody gets a chance to go out and go see first-run Broadway shows. Now that Broadway shows are coming to your small box in the theater, if you will, and the home, and again, that's going to be something that's going on TV. We're all seeing The Sound of Music and several other shows that were broadcast live. Well, coming up on TV on Fox, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is going to be presented. Now, this is an all-star cast. What's interesting about this is Laverne Cox, who is a transgendered actor, will be playing the role of Frankenfurter, and the role of Everett Scott, the mad scientist, as it were, is going to be played by Ben Vereen. And the original Frankenfurter, of course, Tim Curry, will be none other than the criminologist, who, of course, leads everybody in the time warp, if you don't know who that is. So that he was, of course, the original Frankenfurter and made it on the screen for that. So I hope that everybody will get a chance to see that. Rocky Horror Picture Show is already filmed. It's already in the can. It's filmed live. Now, a live show that they will have, however, in December is going to be Hairspray. And the cast of this is show starring Harvey Fierstein and Kristen Chenoweth and a host of other people that you'll recognize, Andrea Martin, for instance. That's going to be live on NBC on December the 7th. So I want you to mark your calendars for that. It's an opportunity to actually see live theater in your homes, much like we saw streamed with She Loves Me in July. And we hope that this will be a trend that more of the networks will do. I'm hoping that they will pick up and run with it, because theater doesn't need to to be just in the actual venues where they're seen. As long as you can see it on TV and other kids get to see it, I think they'll really enjoy it. So hopefully that's fun.
Just to add a little postscript, I'm really excited because, as you know, this is the 100th anniversary of Le Petit.
Yes.
And so extra excited about Pippin, which is coming up in the fall, which Tom Chianfici is directing.
Correct.
And
I had a good opportunity to see it twice. The first time was with Andrea Martin as Berta, which she got the Tony Award for her performance in Pippin. And then I went back to see my friend John Rubinstein. Of course, everyone knows him from the original Pippin production where he played Pippin itself. This time he played his father. So he played Charlemagne. You know, so that was fun too. And again, Ben Vereen was able, he's again a friend of mine on Facebook, he was able to promote the fact that he went backstage to see John Rubinstein perform as well. So it was fun.
And we're working on a brief history of Le Petit. So
yes,
we'll have that in September.
On our station.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, though, it's time for our picks. Poppy.
The Louisiana Seafood Festival is next weekend. It's always a fun event. It's the 2nd through the 4th. It's $8 a day or $22 for the weekend. And I have to tell you what, it's going to support the flood victims. All the money from the hospitality industry, that's all what it's going to. So
that's great that it's at City Park and that fairgrounds
area.
Yes,
it's a big festival, and it's run by the
grounds.
Louisiana Hospitality Nonprofit Association. There's going to be incredible chefs doing demos. People are really turning out for this, so the crowd needs to come out.
That's a really good location, and it's pretty easy to park.
It's going to be so fun.
Yes.
Next weekend.
Yes, indeed. Ryan.
I'm going to use this time to plug myself.
That's okay. Shameless plugging. It's okay.
Please visit my website, rienfertel.com.
And are you studying anything else in terms of your culinary history these days? Any thoughts for a new book?
There's some in the pipeline, but on the website you could read my recent James Beard Award nominated article on Broad Street.
Wow.
And kind of my personal history of Broad Street.
Very good, with the steakhouses and all that, of course. Yes. Alan.
Well, I just want to urge everybody who has not yet had a chance to go see Lizzie at the New Orleans Art Center and get there a little early. They have a lot of little art pieces that are at the center. Of course, it is an art gallery in the daytime. And Lizzie is 4 ladies who play this phenomenal role, the story of Lizzie Borden, but it's a rock musical, and it's one of the best things I've seen so far this year. I think it's really going to be worthy of a lot of people seeing. I know some people think there's a lot of blood associated with it. There is really very little, not any splatter zones. So if you're worried about that, do not worry. It's really done well, and the singing is absolutely spectacular.
Wow, an unusual choice for a topic. Thank you, Alan. And my picks, the NOLA Synchronicity film series continues Sunday night at Buffa's Bar and Restaurant in Esplanade with a screening of In That Number, the New Orleans Brass Band Festival. The screenings are at 7 and at 9, and there's discussion in between, so around there. So there you go. And don't miss Culture Collision 8 at the National World War II Museum. That's next Wednesday, August the 31st. All different organizations are going to be involved with it. And Stories from a Baby Doll with guest speaker Alana Harris would take place next Thursday, September 1st at Blue Cypress Books. That's a precious little bookstore on Oak Street. It's part of the One Book, One New Orleans campaign, which encourages locals to share the experience of reading the same book each fall. Kim Marie Vaz's great book on the baby dolls is this year. And so it's lots of activities. You'll see it on the Facebook. Thank you all so very much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you all. Thanks for watching. Good night.